Welcome to the Faithful Fireside podcast.
Well, we are back, and we're just going to kind of do a hangout session, talk about Lent, some other things. Pretty chill session. Let's talk about some stuff going on with the podcast right now.
Yeah, let's start with that. That sounds like a good idea.
So, I think we've said this before. We're now fully on Substack.
you guys over there reading our writings and watching our show on Substack.
Yeah, so Substack, our paid tiers, get in our book club and some other merch giveaway things monthly. March 1st will be our first giveaway for that.
Okay, cool. I didn't know when you were I didn't remember the day.
Yeah, and then for our book club, the people who joined, we did a lottery giveaway for a special trophy of the Pearl book that we covered together.
Yes.
So that'd be cool. Your friend won.
Jordan Kelly.
Yeah.
You are the winner of the Pearl trophy.
Once we get that made, we'll get it to him.
Yeah.
We have mugs for the first 5 paid subscribers. We just need to get those to people.
Yeah. So we need...
I think a couple we kind of just distribute through our network, but maybe 1 or 2 we have to mail out.
I think we'll have to mail some, but we'll be reaching out to people to figure out how they want to receive their mug. This is the mug. Have we shown the mug?
I don't think so.
I don't even know if I can get you a good shot of the mug.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's the Faithful Fireside logo.
Yeah.
There it is. That's a good one.
There you go. It's on both sides.
Oh, great.
Teal.
It's still freezing. Also, we have t-shirts. Just started this.
Yeah, we have t-shirts.
That's the back there.
The back, the t-shirts.
Same logo that's on the mug.
Yep, same. Kevin's got the front. You can look at his beefy man chest over there.
Make America Catholic, the Faithful Fireside podcast.
Right.
2 crosses.
Super cool.
It's got this Celtic font style. I kind of like it.
I like it. It's super cool.
It's very St. Patrick's Day-ish.
Which is perfect because it's going to be happening. St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
It happens every year.
On our brewery crawl this year, after St. Patrick's Day, I plan on wearing this all day.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun.
That's going to be cool. I'm trying to think of...
show them the book.
Oh, yeah. The next book club book.
We're doing it.
His is blue. So is mine. I just took the cover off. He just took the cover off. I'm holding the cover. This is A Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter. It's definitely a different book than our first book, right? So with the Pearl, we were talking about, we were having an extended parable on a number of things with the Pearl, but this is actually going to be an investigation into how to live your life in such a way that you are appropriately challenged so that you reach your potential. And unlike being a parable, there's going to be lots of references to scientific studies.
Yeah. So far, it's good. About
it
50,
is good.
60 pages in.
It is good. Yeah, I think... What day did we say we're doing this?
April 9th will be our book club online meeting.
April 9th, yes. So
people have time to join late and get it read.
I'm on page 65, so you've got some time to get caught up. I've got my highlights and my dog ears in there now, and so we're getting there.
Nice.
Embrace discomfort to reclaim your wild, happy, healthy self.
And what are you reading with your men's group?
And then at St. John's, which is where I attend a men's group in the morning, we're reading Be a Man by Father Larry Richards. And Ignatius Press puts this out. Definitely recommend you support Ignatius Press. And
I read that in college, but I have brief memories of it.
This is a great...
I enjoyed it then.
Yeah,
I think I would now.
He's got that Pennsylvania rule, I'll slap you in the face attitude.
Yes.
So it's really enjoyable. I've been watching the videos alongside it with...
videos.
Yeah, there's videos that they put out. Yeah, heroicmen.com, I think.
Cool.
Heroic Men. And so they show the videos at the men's group, and then I sat down with my table, and we go through and we talk about, the questions and stuff.
Cool.
So I'm reading chapter 7 of this week, along with reading this, and that's the majority of my Lent reading that specifically pertains to Lent. It's like... Lent is definitely a time where we're supposed to, get rid of some of our comforts and, focus on Christ, focus on prayer, um, get to know some of the other saints, the people who are alive, church triumphant, spend some time with their lives and to, of course, um, pray, fast, and give alms, right? To take stuff that we would maybe I would buy something with this money, but I don't need that, so I'm going to donate it instead. Those are really the three pillars of Lent, and we should probably try and remember to address all three of those things when we're kind of talking about this to some extent.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, Comfort Christ is perfect book for Lent.
it's a perfect
So,
book for Lent.
lined up.
Perfect.
So, speaking of Lent, what'd you decide on giving up or adding in, or?
So yeah, in the past I had done Exodus 90, I think 3 times. The first time I did it like super hardcore, just every single thing. Um, there was a little bit of collateral damage to being that restrictive. That there were certain things that impacted my family, I think, too much from what I was not doing. Like, wouldn't watch movies with them, wouldn't do anything with them. And when you do something like that, if you can get the buy-in that the whole family will also do that, then there's some advantage there. If you can't get that buy-in, then it causes there are certain pressure points that you don't need to be pushing on, right? It's like you're kind of overly enforcing certain things, I think, on people. So I did it again in a lot more relaxed way where it's like, okay, so I'm going to do this, right? But not everybody else wants to commit to 90 days without some of these things because the Exodus 90 list is really extensive if you've ever
Sure.
looked at it. Exodus 90 is, we should talk about this in the book club a little bit, but Exodus 90 is kind of a misogi. If you've never done any sort of Lenten practice and then go into it, it's like twice as long as Lent and much more restrictive.
Right.
It's a lot more in line with like, it's a lot closer to more of an Eastern practice. So it's a lot harder. Like you fast on Wednesdays and Fridays, for example. So every week you get twice as many for twice as long fast days.
Went on hard mode.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so this year, doing that at the beginning, there was sort of a nugget of pridefulness that kind of grew because I was able to do it relatively successfully, right? Like pretty much nobody does it perfectly, but I didn't really mess up that much compared to what I thought might happen. And so this year I just really wanted to kind of keep it simple, and it's like trying to be in obedience with what the church asks, even though it's not over the top or flashy, is really what I'm trying to do this year. And just because in my heart I would rather do a whole lot more because it's like it gets annoying sometimes that for example, Ramadan, people don't eat until sun's down, right? And even then, what you can eat, I don't know all the rules,
Right.
right? But if most folks for Lent, it's like you can have 2 snacks and one meal. That's pretty easy, especially having fasted harder than that in Japan when I was kind of discerning Catholicism. I would fast till like 3 in the afternoon and eat once. And that was it, you know. But I need to work on being obedient and doing just what kind of needs to be done, and then taking the energy and the ease of which you can kind of live your life with a little bit more calories and apply that well instead of just clamming up. And so I struggle with that.
Sure.
So I'm trying to just be obedient and not do more for glory or my own personal pride this year.
Okay.
That's my biggest, most important thing is being obedient. And then the second thing is inside of my Be a Man book, I have the Litany of Trust, which was given to me by Father Jones at St. John's. And this is, I pray this in the dark by candlelight when I wake up first thing in the morning and before I go to bed. So I was just been struggling with trusting the Lord with all the stuff that's going on in life. My life in particular right now. It's a terrible season in a lot of ways, has been. And so Father Jones, very discerning at like last time I went to confession.
Which priest is he?
He's the younger
one.
priest.
That's like our age-ish, or
yeah, close.
That's
close.
who he is.
Yeah, he looks like he's close to our age.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was really discerning eye, gave me that as my penance, and I prayed that. And then this is last time I went to confession was like right before Lent started. It was like the weekend before Ash Wednesday. And so I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this.
and you were able to make it to Ash Wednesday, right?
Yep. I was able to make it. You were on your deathbed.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's a good segue. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I was going to start Lent off very hardcore. I was going to go into it with a 3-day fast. Then I got sick the day before Lent, or Ash Wednesday.
I thought you were going to die in your chair in the office.
Yeah, it was not good.
Because I don't know, most of you people who watch this show aren't going to know this, but like I just stare at the back of Kevin's head all day, the way our cubes are arranged, and so I just like I'm watching him die.
It was a rough day. I just continuously it was getting worse and worse, and I was like, okay, I can make it till 3 o'clock. No, I'm gonna leave at 2. Then 12:30 hit, and I was like, I'm getting the heck out of here. I just went home and slept for 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was pissed because I missed Ash Wednesday. I was looking forward to it. I was going to join him and our mentor at work on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just so annoyed. And then I ate because I just felt so bad. I needed like nourishment. It was not fun. But after that, yeah, so I decided on no social media, no TV, and a 24-hour fast once a week. I'm going to do that today on the Friday.
Okay, yeah.
And then so I'll be eating dinner. And then a daily rosary. I've been struggling to get the rosary in.
Yeah.
It's really easy when I work because I can do it on the commute. But on the weekends, I find it very hard to like force myself to make time for it.
Yeah. I have the same struggle. Like a lot of times I'll listen to Hallow. I think I'm also going through the Hallow Lenten journey where they're kind of talking through the Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky, but it's not really one of my Lent things to do that every day. But I just, as kind of a matter of course, I typically listen to whatever the Hallow challenge is and try and pray along with that, because I used to be a Hallow herald actually, and I started doing that in Japan, which is more or less just, advocate, spread the word about Hallow, work with parishes who might be interested in using it for educational content or faith formation content. So I used to do that.
Yeah.
Which is actually how I got to talk to Father Vincent Lampert one time, which was kind of cool. He's a famous exorcist.
Okay.
But he gave a talk to the Hallow Heralds at one point, just to us. I was still in Japan though, so that was definitely 3 years ago. But he's got a good Pints with Aquinas episode if you guys are interested in exorcism. Father Vincent Lampert's pretty cool. And then Chad Ripperger's books are really good.
Okay.
But I don't even know why I got off on exorcists.
The Hallow thing.
When I start thinking about Hallow, I just think about exorcism.
Last year, I tried to convince my wife to give up social media with me, and she wouldn't. But this year, she did.
Really?
And I can tell it's a noticeable difference.
Yeah.
In my spouse. And then we tried to get our 4-year-old to do something little. So as a family, we're doing no TV.
Yeah.
Got a lot of pushback from my wife at first, but what we're seeing from it so far has been really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other night, we were all in my study. 4-year-old was playing with magnetiles. Our 9-month-old was asleep. My wife was just hanging out on the couch reading. And I thought about it the next day. I'm like, it's been a while since we've done that. Just hang out in the non-TV room as a family. Because on a school night or work night, it's so easy to be like, okay, 4-year-old, just watch an episode or two of Bluey while I do a couple things around the house.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that option. Our 4-year-old hates Lent every day. She's like, Daddy, can I watch Bluey? I'm like, no TV for Lent. And she's like, how many days is that? I'm like, till Easter. She's like, "Is that a long time?" I'm like, "Yes." And she goes, "I hate Lent." But yeah, it's been great. I'm enjoying it.
And it's crazy to think about TV. Like TV's not even that old, man. Like the TV boom is like what, 1950s or something like that, and
Yeah.
radio boom is like 19 teens, 1920s or something. It's not that long, and we've
Yeah.
got completely rewired the way we do life and the way we arrange
I
the
think it's a
architecture of our
necessity.
houses. We think of it as a necessity. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
get a lot of weird looks when people are like, "You only have one TV in your house." I'm like, "Yeah, we don't do TVs in bedrooms. We're like that time is for sleeping. Like, and I think it
Yeah,
helps your brain. Like, this is only for sleeping.
yeah,
And I'm either reading in my bed or sleeping. No, nothing else.
yeah, yeah,
So I really like that. Like when we first moved into this house, my parents were like, "Oh, can we buy you a TV for your bedroom?" I was like, "No." I was
yeah,
like, "Do not
yeah,
do that."
yeah. That's amazing. We've got two right now because I was a huge like AV type nerd, particularly on the video game side, but I was
Yeah.
like the master of all the cables and everybody's like, "Can you help me hook up my TV and all that stuff?" I used to be way into that. And having the different like looking at the back of someone's TV is like, "Sorry, man, you don't got the coax. I can't hook up your Super Nintendo on this one," and then them being upset.
Yeah.
But it was like now we have two, and it's because we have the one that we had in our old house, like, and before we moved to Japan, and then I bought a nice TV in Japan to play my PlayStation 5 on, which I do sometimes. Really, kind of rare now, but there's a few things that I still like to play every now and again. So I bought that. I was working through like Final Fantasy VII remake at the time, and I wanted it to look good. So we moved back, and so that TV, that really nice TV, is in our bedroom, and we use it to watch like the shows that Lindsay and I like to watch together. Which I think we were working on Severance primarily right now,
Okay.
and then there's that one in the living room, which she uses to help play defense sometimes because we got four little kids and she homeschools, and so I've got their age gaps are really big, so we have little bitty ones and they want to watch.
Yeah, I was
Like
over there the other day. You guys were watching Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin or Bluey. We hate it, but sometimes we have to put on Baby Shark to distract, and then she can like teach them the lesson, the two big kids, whatever the lesson is. So what we did to try and counteract that is the architecture of the living room. We kind of used it to our advantage, but most homes, there's an area you can kind of tell this is where the TV goes, right? And what we did, instead of build our living room around the TV, we built our living room facing the hearth, which is part of the Faithful Fireside name. And then above the hearth, Kevin actually helped me install. We install the mantle, and above the mantle, there's a picture of Christ flanked by candles, and then other just iconography and things up there. And so we have a TV. We use the TV strategically. Occasionally we'll play Mario games together and stuff like that. But we oriented the couch to face the hearth. So the TV is always off to the side. And so that was one small thing we tried to do, like physically, is to make the center of this room icons, and then the TV's over there if you need it. And so that was kind of
Yeah, it makes it more
our
of
thing.
a pain to watch the TV.
Right. It's not as comfortable,
Yeah.
to do. And if you sit like on the chase or lay down on the chase, you have to look over like, this,
Hmm.
so it's just not as central, but it's still a thing that we enjoy. So this Lent for us is not as strict. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. Lindsay is by far the strictest this Lent. Actually, I'm super impressed. But like, for Liza, it's just like you can't watch TV or use screens on your own. But if we decide to do something as a family, like we're going to do family movie night or we're going to play Mario and Luigi or something like that, we allowed that. Um, but she's just not allowed to like go off and turtle up into herself totally.
Yeah,
So that's what we're
that's
doing.
smart.
Yeah. I mean, I like what you're doing though. I like the no TV at all. Like I don't know if you ever just wanted to take your TV out back and just shoot it or hit it with it, like just chop it down. There've been times where I've wanted to do that.
Dude, social media, not having X in my news source is weird.
Okay, talk
Because,
about
like, I
that.
usually a little bit, like, pride myself in my friend group of, like, always knowing the new technology coming out, always knowing the latest about the stock market, the latest
Yeah.
about crypto, the latest about our world involvement, all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
And my wife comes home from work the other day and she's like, "Did you hear about the stuff going down on in Mexico?" I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Yeah.
And
Okay. Okay.
I was working out with my buddy Kyle yesterday, and
Yeah.
he is very anti-social media, and so he doesn't do it. Thinks it's a waste of time.
Mhm.
I'm always the one like, "Oh, did you hear about this?" He's like, "No." So then it's like a joke. I'm like, "You haven't heard about this yet, Kyle, but this is what's happening in the world." And he's like, "Oh, that's interesting." So, and as we were working out, I was like, "You know what? I feel like you." And he was like, "Why?" And I was telling him, and he was just laughing. I was like, "I literally have no idea what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
and it's so
Yeah.
peaceful.
Well, that's the thing. I
It's
mean,
so nice."
that it really ramps up. It always feels like the world's on fire,
Yeah.
whenever you have constant access to social media and the 24-hour news feed, because they need ratings too. I mean, so it doesn't really matter where you get your news source from. Long ago, you would have said, someone would have said to you, "What do you know? Did you hear about what's going on in Mexico?" And you would have looked at him and you would have said, "What's Mexico?" Because it's too far away. It's
Yeah.
just one of those things where it's like, or even me, I've lived in Japan. I would have like come back and this kind of happened actually, but you come back and it's just like this strange man who's gone off to this weird place, and experienced all these weird things. So he's there's two ways that goes, right? The village integrates you in, and then you're like the medicine man of the village, or you're kind of like just
The Baggins
you're the Baggins, yeah,
from Lord of the Rings.
right. And you can't stay in the Shire.
It's like people kind of like you, but they're behind your back. They're like, "This guy's weird.
Yeah.
He left our hometown and went on adventures. What?"
I mean, it's just there's something to what Tolkien says, or how Tolkien depicts, the end of the Lord of the Rings, and who can stay in the Shire and who can't. Because importantly, Sam can stay, importantly, but Frodo can't, right? The Baggins can't. So there's something to reflect on that um, I would say, especially in my life, the way that it's gone, but probably with a lot of people, you could probably reflect on that for the rest of your years.
Hmm.
It's great. The Lord of the Rings is awesome. Um, yeah, and I guess that's sort of what we try and do each Lent to some extent, is embrace some amount of discomfort and try and turn that into an adventure. And a lot of it's interior, right? Prayer should be both. Fasting will be interior, right? Christ tells us not to like act like you're fasting and walk around and moan and, make
Right.
a big spectacle out of yourself.
It's like a vegan going to a restaurant. "Oh, I'm vegan." Like, the guy has to tell everybody. Or, "Hey, I do CrossFit. I gotta tell everybody." It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I've seen those things, but
yeah, go around and order your food in peace and silence, and don't
yeah,
you don't have to announce it to the world.
right, right. Don't complain about it, and don't try and seek glory out of it either.
Yeah.
And prayer should be kind of both, right? Like you pray and work on your interior life. You try. I think that we should all desire at least some degree of mystical experience in prayer too, kind of like Saint Catherine of Siena or any of the other mystics. We want union with Christ. We want our will to be united um, with Christ's will, right, to bring about our own sanctification, right? And so there's that interior aspect of prayer, but you should also be praying for men. You should be praying with your family during this time. If you haven't been, now's the time that you should be. And that's the kind of thing that you don't just like, Lent's over, not going to pray with you losers anymore, right? It's not like that, but it's the kind of thing where when you do your evaluation, some things in Lent should start and never end,
Yeah.
right?
We
Right.
Now that Mary's getting older, we're doing good about dinner prayer, right?
Good. Yeah.
because I'm not one to like always pray before my food. Like it's something I never do.
Right. Well, you suck, dude.
I know. So yeah, we've been incorporating it as a family for dinner, and I've been enjoying that.
Good. Yeah. The one that we still struggle with is like we always pray before meals and we have nighttime prayer. I'm always gone when they wake up, but we have nighttime prayer and we always mess up, like forget to pray after we eat. So I don't have like the same command of the table that my grandfather, the colonel, used to have, like where you would come in and you sit at the table. You can't put your elbows on the table like I'm doing right now. You got to eat your food. You can't leave until everybody's done, or there's like a general dismissal. Maybe he's eating really slow and he'll sit by himself for a little bit, but like everybody else has to be done, kind of a thing. And that sort of liturgical eating, it's sort of a ritualistic eating. Now, sometimes it's super oppressive, right? Because people aren't always, granddad and dad are not always nice, but there's a certain sense that there's a ceremony of how you eat, right? And we need all those things, or else we just kind of float around and are lost. Which
And one thing we focus on is
yeah,
absolutely no phones at dinner.
yeah,
Do not want our toddlers to see that as our habit.
yeah, it's really good. I could get better about that. Yeah, because I'll sit down with my phone. It'll just be at the table and not necessarily always on it, but I'll have it. And sometimes I'm on it because I also am a bad person. But that's a good one. Yeah, it's true. So that would be a good one.
Real quick about prayer.
Yeah.
I struggle with unstructured prayer.
Yeah.
Like I suck at it with my brain and my ADD. I'm like 30 seconds in, I'm forgetting I'm praying. Like
yeah.
so hard.
That's a really good point because I don't have ADD in any form. I'm autistic, so I can actually like Asperger
zone in.
Yeah, I can actually in utter silence zone in.
Well, it probably explains why you don't have friends, but
it does. It does actually. That's a fundamental piece of it. It's the Walton man does not have many friends.
Just like the Baggins.
It's just like the Baggins. That's just the way that it is. So yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know what it's like to try and sink into prayer and your own brain is not at your command, right? Exactly. Now, I do know what it's like to sink into prayer, and when you get in there, you're super antsy. Like you uncover things about that's like your internal life and what's going on, and you don't want to sit in it. I know what that's like. The challenge of prayer is that when you get down in there and you just sink into your own heart and it's filled with ravenous wolves, you have to sit in there and just let them eat you. Until they're kind of done.
It kind of ties into I've tried different forms of meditation in the past.
Yeah.
Before like working out or stuff like that, and I suck at all the ones. I know there's different types, but like the one I'm best at is when you're just staring at something.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why I pray better at church unstructured.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like looking at the crucifix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a candle or
right.
It's peaceful. Like I'm way better at that. But if it's just like eyes closed, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm imagining all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, something like Teresa of Avila's advice, and again, you have ADD, but Teresa of Avila's advice was when those stray thoughts come, is to kind of acknowledge them, see them, and let them go.
Yes.
And then
I did read some like meditation advice of like imagining all these thoughts are like bubbles floating, and you see it, but you're not going to get into that bubble. You're just going to let it go.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
And you can actually then take that, which I refuse to use your new age bubble metaphor, but you can take that, and you can whenever it presents itself to you, you can make that into your prayer, and so that's one thing that would be good for everybody to practice, because those muscles can also atrophy too. Like if you're not doing a great job of praying often,
I think that ties into what's it called, neuroplasticity.
Yeah,
with
I've
your
heard
brain, your brain.
With your brain.
Oh my gosh.
With your brain.
Your brain has the power to rewire itself, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think like positive mindset and training your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like you can overcome bad thoughts, but it
Yeah.
takes time because you got to rewire those pathways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
it. Like
It is.
if you're not actively trying to pray unstructured,
Right.
your brain is going to struggle, and you got to rewire that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. First time I experienced that deeply the first time I sat in adoration for an hour. I was just like, why can I not sit here in front of the Blessed Sacrament for an hour?
Yeah.
Like I can't, and I did, but I was really, it's, I was more antsy than I normally am in silence. And I don't know if it was because there was just stuff in me that needed to be burned out at the time or what, but it was just like it was really a challenge. And I think that's a good point for sure. I mean, that's I like to point out that this is something that will I think people will encounter when they read The Comfort Crisis with us. There's going to be a lot of scientific explanations for things that are very old, that in this book. I see that a lot reading like old literature and myths and legends and different things. And of course, I studied Bible in college. A lot of the stuff that we come up with terms for, we already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people from long ago lived with that. They had a way to master that. The idea of prayer that we think of now is like I come before God and I have like this list of stuff that I want. That's not prayer, right? There's different formulations that people have kind of come up with to help you, like acts, like adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and then supplication. So you can, of course, ask for things, but it's like the last thing. The most important things are the adoration, confession, and thanksgiving, right, in your prayer. But probably even more important than all that acronym is just the stuff that you say. Maybe you change it to SACTS, and at the front you put silence, right? There's a real sense that if you can't like confront the Lord, and confront maybe too aggressive of a word, but he wants to confront us a lot. So I'll just kind of stick with that. But if you can't come before the Lord and just set in the silence, even if you need visual help, you have a problem, that you need to kind of work through or think through and sit through. My best friend, all growing up, I had two, three, four, I had several really good friends, but John Schrader and I spent a whole lot of time together. And his dad Terry used to tell me that if you can't sit there and watch paint dry, or you can't sit there and watch the grass grow, I remember hearing both of these, you have a problem. And that was not necessarily in the context of prayer, but it was in the context of just general wisdom, right? Like there's something wrong. And so when we go to confront those things in prayer, we're actually supposed to work through those
I
things,
agree.
which does things to our brains.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it that way.
It means you can't handle your internal voice.
Yeah.
Silence.
Right.
You're using distractions to get away from that.
Exactly.
I know many people like that.
Exactly. And so what you'll encounter with folks like Easter is they'll use brain science and to talk about things that theologians, mystics, and saints have known forever, right? I mean, they've been sitting on top of that mountain for a long time. We're just coming up with scientific ways to measure it and talk about it. Well, we already know that stuff, right? You should already know that you need to confront those things and that you can change by doing that.
Yeah.
Right? That's ancient. So that's prayer. We talked a little bit about fasting, abstaining from certain things like food and social media, and that one is largely to buy you time. You should get time back that you can apply to prayer. I think another one that's really hard, the third pillar, right? The almsgiving seems like to me harder in our current society than it probably was. Well, harder may not be the right word. We live in a world now that has already been Christianized. So even the people that really hate Jesus and hate Christ already have Christian ideals, that are underneath whatever else they're trying to pull off right now. Which is kind of why there's, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, taxes, all of that stuff. So you already have garnished wages up to like 20%, a fifth to a fourth of what you earn or so. And on top of that, doing additional almsgiving, whether that's, that's not necessarily doing a 10% tithe to the church. Like Father Larry talks about, hey, give 5% to the church and 5% to the poor in this book.
I like that.
I like that as well, because your your almsgiving is all people are God's and all the money is God's. And so if you use 10% of it for others, well, you should use it for your church community because you need to fund your own interest, but also you need to help the poor. And so this is another time to kind of think about, like, how can we do that? How can we help people? Is there somebody that we know personally, right, that's in debt? Can we cut them a check for something? Do we know somebody who's sick and can't work and they don't have health insurance or they don't have anything else? Can you cut them a check?
Yeah. This year we started donating to Wounded Warrior Project, Tunnel to Towers, St. Jude,
Yeah.
and Oklahoma City's Infant Crisis Center.
Nice.
So each month, just a couple, I think we're doing $25 each month to each of those.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Things that are like kind of important to us and our values. So
yeah. There's one thing that's kind of interesting too, because in the Gospels, Christ talks about like doing our giving in secret, right? That's one advantage of contemporary technology, is that you can actually give
in secret,
totally in secret.
Yeah.
Like you never have to put anything in the basket at church. You can just wire.
Man, I feel so bad for those guys. I'm like, most people are either doing direct deposit or donating.
Right.
We're passing around empty baskets. But I remember growing up, there's always cash in there, right? Because everybody carried cash, and I'm always like,
yeah,
I feel bad for you. Like,
yeah. There's still some sense, there's always still some in there, but yeah, in general, it's, most people are giving totally in secret now. And I think there's an advantage to that we're probably less judgmental, or we should be.
Yeah.
There may be a disadvantage that nobody's thinking about that, and then everybody's just like glaring daggers at everybody. But it's like, dude, like, give online. Annual Catholic Appeals, like, I'm on it.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I don't need the envelope. I'm on it.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's sort of, it's just an interesting dynamic, and so that, I think that one probably gets left out, though, that third pillar for almsgiving. It's like, okay, it's Lent. I'm gonna do myself a misogi, which we'll get into that, and just like wreck my body with fasting and get a cat of nine tails and just beat my back bloody and just like, yeah, it's Lent, but there's don't forget to like make other people's lives better. Like, that thing you were going to buy, don't buy it.
And almsgiving can also be volunteer work, right?
Yeah, you can give up time as well. Yeah. But before I was so rudely interrupted, that thing you were going to buy, don't buy it and give that money away instead. Right, that's kind of the idea of a Lenten.
Don't look at my 3D printer I just bought.
Yeah, it's 3D printer for the cause. But yeah, I mean that's sort of the idea, right? It's always that's the idea of repentance. People will talk about. You hear this all the time. Like Bishop Barron's huge on this, and lots of people have taken it. But the idea of metanoia is that Greek word for repentance. It's like above or beyond the mind is what that means. But then people be like, you'll get that sermon. We're talking about repenting. It's not just stopping. It's turning around and going the other way, And so whenever there's something in your life that you need to fast from, or you need to pray through or work on, you're supposed to turn around and do the opposite thing as much as you can, right? That's to live life. That's part of the point of the parable when Christ is talking about, if there's a strong man that you go into a house and you get rid of him, and then if you don't, like, you sweep up and clean the house and everything, and if you don't, like, occupy the house or put the house to good use or otherwise fill it, the thing that you sent out comes back with 7 of its friends and they just like beat you down in the street. It's kind of the idea. That's not literally what Christ said, but I just for whatever reason imagine getting like mugged, like this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something. But anyway, you get like, they comes back with 7 of his buddies, right, and takes the house back is sort of the idea. So you got to turn around and you have to like fill that space. Nature abhors a vacuum, and that's not just a physical reality; it's a spiritual reality.
Yeah.
So you have to fill, and so and this doesn't mean you can't have a 3D printer, but it does mean that there may be some things that you look at and you sort of like greedily lust after, like for me it's books. Okay, like I'm just like there's a bunch of books I want in my library, but for Lent it's like probably not going to buy any of the books that I would just want.
Sure.
And instead we can donate that money, or we can use it for my kids' homeschooling, or we can apply it instead of just for my wants to the household, because that's my first ministry.
Yeah.
Or to the church or the poor, right? And ideally you do all of those things, right? Is the idea.
Makes sense.
And that's just one nobody thinks about. So I've done. I'm not going to talk about what it was because giving is secret. But I've done one of those things this Lent so far. So I've managed to do something for each pillar: observing the fast, daily prayer with a candle, and I have to kneel. It has to be like bodily. The body has to be involved, right? Because we're not some kind of Gnostic Americanized, pseudo Platonic Gnostic religion thing where it's just like if I pray in my brain, then it counts. It's like, well, you can pray in your brain, you can pray in your heart, but you can also pray with your body, and you should be doing all of those things because you're a body and a soul, right? You're not just one or the other. So if you don't pray with physicality, you're missing like at least a whole dimension. I almost hate to say it that way. You're missing like a whole half of yourself if you're not praying with your body at the same time. So that was part of what I also added to my litany of trust. It's like if you're not kneeling, you're not praying, right? Is kind of the idea. Which
I like that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's oversimplification to make it catchy, because obviously you can pray while you're not leaning, or kneeling. But that was my thing. It's like get the body in.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's a big thing that we miss, especially in non-liturgical forms of Christianity. There's just not a lot of association of the body with good, because you want to remove the idea of being able to do penance, because they're so averse to the idea of works and strictly faith alone, like evangelicalism. Which I'm not trying to knock anybody. I'm just saying that there's the only thing you can do with your body is sin. You can't do anything with your body that is somehow like penitent or of any value, right? So it has to be faith alone.
That's a good point.
And which is obviously wrong. You obviously can do things with your body that are good, and whether or not you cannot save yourself through that, but that's the idea of sanctification.
Yeah.
And that's what James is getting at, that the works have to come along with the faith, or else the faith is dead. There's nothing to it if you don't have faith, I guess, is probably the best way to say it. Because I'm not even arguing. Faith is saved by, everybody agrees that you're saved by grace through faith. And you can even say alone, right? That's just, what's happening there is people are getting their brains tickled by sloganeering from 500 years ago. But you can say alone, but you still must participate in that, right? And that's the works. That's the main difference. Is once saved, always saved is not right. That's not true. So that's kind of the big sticking point. You do have to participate in the life of Christ, or you don't have faith in Christ. So not to open up that can of worms.
I mean, the age-old saying of actions speak louder than words. I feel like.
Yeah.
Applies here.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I can say I love my wife all day long, or like in our book club, right? There was, especially at the beginning of the Pearl, when Kino is looking at Juana while she's doing things and enjoying the silence. They don't need to speak to each other. They don't even need to say anything. They're setting and resting in the love, like they're resting in that comfort. They don't need words. But you can certainly say one thing and do another, right? You can say, I love you, kiss your wife on the forehead, or kiss, good night or whatever, and then go out and binge with whores. Right. Well, do you?
Yeah.
And so people hate those arguments, and I hate this argument, actually. I pretty much hate this discussion because it's kind of it's one of those false fights that people get sucked up in and waste their time.
Yeah, it's not worth
absolutely waste their time talking about this topic. But yeah,
that's a good point.
Thanks.
We are about to wrap up here at 45 minutes, and we're going to step outside and do a smoke session with our pipes.
Yeah.
We're going to post that on our Substack for paid people only, paid subscribers. So.
Yeah. We're trying to we want lots of content just for everybody, because we know not everybody can pay, and people shouldn't have to pay for everything. But there's certain things we're trying to do for some goals that we have, and we want to help paid subscribers feel like their $5 is worth it, and so we'll have periodically like a smoke session or something like that, where we'll just continue conversation kind of like this, but it'll be for the people who decided they wanted to give money, to give them something nice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go do that, and probably keep musing about Lent and wandering around through these conversations.
Yeah, well, we will see you guys next time. We're going to step outside and smoke. Thanks.
Thanks.